Finding a way to buy duplex using business credit in the USA without relying on personal funds felt almost impossible until I learned how to structure it step by step. In this video, I'll share how my first duplex purchase unfolded through pure observation and experience. Let's begin now with the first step. My starting point as a beginner investor. When I began, I wasn't sure where to start. Real estate always seemed complex, but the idea of owning a duplex caught my attention because it could generate rental income while I lived in one unit. That simple concept, living in one side and renting the other, felt like a practical step for someone exploring how to buy duplex using business credit opportunities in the United States. I spent countless evenings reading about multifamily properties in markets like Texas, Ohio, and North Carolina. Each state had its own rhythm of growth and affordability, offering lessons about how Americans combine business organization with property ownership. The appeal of a duplex was that it didn't require managing a large apartment complex or coordinating dozens of tenants. It was small, understandable, and fit my goal of starting with a property that could teach me structure and accountability. My focus was on learning the patterns, what made certain neighborhoods sustainable, and how property condition influenced long-term stability. This process was less about quick profit and more about observation. Every listing I analyzed became a small case study in how U.S. real estate works when approached with discipline and patience. Building the foundation for my business setup. To begin, I created a simple business structure, nothing fancy, just a legitimate setup to keep things separate from my personal life. Establishing a business presence gave me clarity. Invoices, expenses, and applications could now exist under a professional identity. In U.S. cities like Dallas, Atlanta, and Phoenix, many small investors follow a similar approach when they prepare to buy duplex using business credit properties, ensuring their operations remain organized and professional from day one. Setting up this foundation wasn't about complex paperwork, it was about creating order. I registered my entity, opened a business communication channel, and organized all property-related files under that name. It helped me understand how structured documentation supports credibility when exploring real estate opportunities. The act of forming a distinct identity taught me discipline, which later made it easier to navigate real estate processes with confidence. As I managed small operational details, I realized how valuable record-keeping and proper organization are in the U.S. property landscape. It wasn't about immediate results, it was about building a long-term foundation that could grow naturally over time while keeping personal and professional matters entirely separate. Once that foundation was in place, I turned my attention toward discovering what business credit really meant in real-world scenarios. Exploring business credit options I encountered. During my research, I came across different forms of business credit used in real estate funding, from corporate cards to flexible lines of credit. What caught my attention were options designed for property-related expenses such as repairs, appraisals, and small upgrades. Each option had its own structure, limits, and purpose, but what truly mattered was understanding how these credit systems operated for businesses involved in property management across the USA. As I explored how professionals handle buy duplex using business credit setups in cities like Chicago, Tampa, and Denver, I noticed the same pattern: organization and patience. Many investors focused on preparing proper documentation and maintaining transparency in their operations. I followed that same discipline. I gathered proof of business registration, address verification, and income statements that reflected consistent activity. The process gave me a clearer picture of how documentation builds trust between an entity and any funding channel. This experience was not about finding shortcuts but about learning how American real estate environments reward structure, clarity, and verified information. The lesson stayed the same: being organized opens doors that guesswork never could. With my business framework ready, the next mission was finding the right duplex to match my credit capacity. The property search process in USA markets. I spent weeks browsing listings of duplexes across multiple states, focusing on properties with strong rental demand in stable neighborhoods. photos and price comparisons filled my screen every night. The goal was to understand patterns in U.S. markets and identify areas where a first-time investor could realistically buy duplex using business credit while maintaining a clear operational approach. What stood out was how quickly well-maintained properties were being purchased. Listings in cities like Charlotte, Phoenix, and Houston often changed within days, highlighting active local markets. I examined each duplex based on its location, overall condition, and proximity to essential amenities such as schools, public transport, and grocery stores. Paying attention to these factors helped me learn how U.S. investors assess practical value and long-term usability rather than speculative potential. This search process reinforced the importance of patience and observation. Every listing became a mini case study, understanding pricing trends, comparing neighborhood stability, and noting property upkeep. The exercise was educational, showing that systematic evaluation and awareness of market nuances are crucial steps for anyone exploring duplex ownership through structured business credit in the U.S. After narrowing down my options, I prepared to use my established business credit to begin the approval journey. Navigating the application and approval timeline. Submitting my documentation felt like a milestone. The review process took patience, emails, verification calls, and occasional updates that required careful attention. Each communication represented progress, providing insight into how business credit systems operate for real estate investors in U.S. cities like Miami, Dallas, and Atlanta. Understanding the pace and procedures reinforced the importance of organization and accurate record keeping. Eventually, I received confirmation that my business credit access was active. That quiet achievement highlighted the value of persistence and methodical preparation. I relied solely on properly organized documentation and following legitimate processes. Observing how American investors navigate applications for property-related credit was highly educational, showing that clarity, attention to detail, and patience are key elements in successful setup. This stage was not about shortcuts or guarantees, but about learning real-world operations in U.S. markets while preparing to buy duplex using business credit. The experience strengthened my understanding of timelines, verification procedures, and practical steps that support organized property acquisition efforts. With access confirmed, I moved forward toward the most exciting phase, the actual purchase. From offer to closing the deal. Once the duplex matched my expectations, I placed an offer through a standard purchase agreement. The inspection and appraisal followed routine but essential parts of the property acquisition experience in U.S. markets such as Houston, Charlotte, and Phoenix. Observing how each step unfolded provided practical insight into the processes American investors use when preparing to buy duplex using business credit. During inspections, I noted details about the structure, plumbing, and electrical systems, while the appraisal helped contextualize property value within the local market. Each step emphasized the importance of documentation, organization, and understanding timelines, without offering advice or financial recommendations. I learned how systematic attention to these stages supports informed decision-making. After the final walkthrough, the keys were in my hand. The property symbolized the culmination of structured learning and patient navigation through each stage. Experiencing ownership firsthand reinforced lessons about maintaining professional practices, handling documentation accurately, and observing real estate processes carefully. This stage highlighted that disciplined approaches and methodical observation are central to understanding property acquisition using business credit within the United States. But owning the property was only the beginning, the real lessons came afterward. Reflections after the purchase. In the months that followed, I observed the rhythm of duplex ownership, maintenance calls, tenant coordination, and budgeting for ongoing improvements. The learning curve was steep, but rewarding. Looking back, this experience wasn't about overnight success, it was about understanding structure, discipline, and how business organization supports sustainable property ownership. Thank you for watching this educational overview on Real Estate Capital and Growth USA. Subscribe to stay updated on our next stories exploring how investors across the U.S. approach real estate growth through structured, credit-based strategies. See you in the next videos.